Depression is curable. When I was 11 years old, I was the most undepressed, disciplined man on the fucking planet. I'd wake up every single morning at 5 and do this Mike Chang six-pack shortcuts, hit cardio, ab workout routine, pack my bags, go to school. During recess, I would sneak out into like the back fields and do more exercise because I was scared that the kids would laugh at me for this. They did. They found out. It was fuck. And then I would come home from cross-country practice. I would meditate, eat my one meal a day, and while my father was sleeping down here in the basement, there was a bench press on the other side with a ton of free weights, and I would hold my breath in the dark, lifting weights, because I did not want to wake my father. And this repeated almost every single day until I started my first YouTube channel and left for college. I was in college for what was at the time my biggest passion in life, acting. But I was torn between doing that and starting this online business, and even more importantly, the social media that comes with it. Since I was 10, I knew I always wanted to be a YouTuber. It's something that has been plaguing my mind every single day since I watched like my first YouTube video. I was like, this is so fucking cool. These guys are just sharing their life, and like people are giving them so much like praise for it, and oh, they're making money, and this is their full-time life, and I bet most of these guys would do this for free anyways, and oh, this sounds so much fun. But because I went to college, and especially an extremely like woke liberal place where I was censoring almost every single word that I was saying, for the first time in my life I lost that purpose and I got depressed. And it was extremely confusing to me because my whole life, I genuinely did not believe depression was real until it happened to me. And I was so confused because on the outside, my life was going great. I just dropped out of college to pursue YouTube full time. In just 1 year, I made my first $10,000 month. I was financially set. We were at 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, 100,000 on Instagram. Everything looked great. I was able to afford to take my team out to travel whenever we wanted. And I was making these videos that I somewhat loved on the outside. But I was so confused why on the inside I absolutely resented myself and hated my life. And this feeling, this emotion of negative thoughts that kept coming back into my mind led to so many days where I had zero drive. And I would just be sat there in my bed making excuses, telling my boys, my brothers that I work with, that making excuses, lying to them that I'm feeling sick when I just hated everything that I was doing. I hated myself, and I just didn't want to sit up and go do anything. And at times, a video would hit 1 million views, or we'd hit the new 100K on whatever platform, and I'd get a little bit excited, and I would have all this little bouts of motivation come into my life, and I'd be watching these like Machiavellia motivation, you know the videos, where it's like David Goggins' speech overlaid with some fucking bodybuilders out there.
Sound like a straight bitch!
I would get juiced up for like 5 minutes, and I would go tell my friends, okay, I know what we're gonna do, I know how we're gonna bring everything back on track, and we start working toward that, and then 2 or 3 days later, the minute that I didn't see results, I would lose momentum and just snowball back down, where these negative thoughts would come back in and all the positive thoughts were gone. And now I'm thinking like, can I really do this? Do I really even want to do this for the rest of my life? Like, and then I would end up back on the bed. No emotion, no feeling, just hating everything I was doing. And this went on for 2 years. This seemingly super successful lifestyle on the outside with just a lot of pain on the inside, where I kept hoping the drive in my life would just come back to me. Even if you don't have the YouTube status and success, I'm sure that you can relate to the times where on the outside, to all your friends, you have a roof over your head, you have enough to afford to eat, you have money, but yet for some reason your mental health is fucked, and you're not even able to have these simple conversations with other men without feeling like you're lying to them. You can't even talk to women because you haven't gotten a haircut in weeks, you look like shit. I hit rock bottom twice. The first time was when I brought my team to LA, and LA is like the most like sinful, like haram, godforsaken city, where I was able to afford to take my best friends out to experience a place that maybe they've never experienced before. This is like what the dream is, to be able to afford to do this. Yeah, one morning I was lying there in the Airbnb bed, staring at the white wall, where I thought to myself, there's nothing that I'm building in my life and nothing in my life that I actually love enough. If by some reason I died that day, it would be okay. And that thought terrified me so much because my whole life, death was something that I was so terrified of. But on that day, I had no fear. And that scared me more than anything. I was so appalled by the thought that I went from a man of discipline, of character, of drive, to someone who wouldn't mind if they died. I lost so much self-respect for myself, and all I wanted to do was fucking cry, but I couldn't. I had no emotion. It was just like a stone cold face. And what hurt the most was talking to one of my best friends at the time who'd been through depression for almost 3 years, and he told me that depression will never go away, that it will be there forever, and it's clinical, and it's something that you can never get rid of, and you might as well start living with it now. And when I heard that, I had so much resentment. I had so much resentment to the fact that no, it shouldn't be like that. No way, because my whole life, I wasn't born feeling fucking depressed. There has to be a reason that I am like that now, which brought me to the second rock bottom in my life. This is the same one as the first video I posted on this channel, where I had extremely poor mental health, and I went through 2 breakups in a row with these women that I absolutely loved, and I felt like I had absolutely no meaning and purpose in my life. And I was sitting there on Christmas Eve begging some higher power to bring me someone in my life to end my life. So there I was, in the lowest point of my life, where the women I loved left me due to bad mental health, where I lost 50% of my business revenue due to bad mental health. And just the worst of all was I had no idea where this bad mental health came from, because my self-image used to be of a young man, 11 years old, working his ass off every single day trying to become like a pro bodybuilder, to this kid who's a victim of life, who he has no idea why all these things are happening to him, all these negative things, why he can't deal with them as he used to. And like most guys, I turned to YouTube for like my biggest problems, right? Like I remember one day I literally typed into YouTube, "Is depression real?" And then I fell down into hours and hours of videos about talking about the clinical psychology of depression and what it actually is, and it's just a dopamine receptors in your brain being fried and you don't have enough dopamine receptors, or is it the serotonin receptors? That's when I came across the self-improvement stuff, which opened my eyes to really understand that depression is not the cause of your pain. Depression is the symptom of living a weak life. When you're fapping all day to porn, eating shitty food, waking up at any hour of the day, and not having a direct purpose in your life, and being a lonely man. I believe that there's almost no such thing as clinical depression. Maybe 0.0001% of depressed people are actually clinically depressed, where they can't actually receive as much dopamine, be it artificial dopamine from like your little fucking vapes.
Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Or natural dopamine from exposing to sunlight and all that. There's definitely a little percentage of the population of that, but 9.9999999 times out of 10, you are not that guy. You are probably depressed because of the actions that you have taken throughout your life that you have built a bad self-image to. You are not depressed because the world put depression on you. You are feeling depressed because the majority of the things that you are doing in your life have no meaning, no purpose, and there are things that you are just not proud of. Like literally, bro, think back to the things that you've done in the past week and write out a list of 10 right now in your mind, and then think about, out of those 10 things, how many of those 10 things are you genuinely proud of that lead to a productive future for your life? For most of you guys, if you're watching this video, it's probably 1, 2, or none of them. And when I was depressed, if I did this practice and looked back, there's probably almost nothing I was truly proud of. So this is the part of the video where the guys who are offended by what I said clicked off. The guys with the low attention spans are gone. And it's just the men who truly care about improving their life and becoming the best, most superior Damo version of them. Because that is the message I want to spread. And I truly believe the thing that we will do that no other self-improvement channel will do is I will promise to give you applicable tips and applicable advice in every single one of these videos, that you will not only understand the knowledge of what to do, but how to do it and why you should do it. So here are the 5 steps that will help you cure depression. Step 1, you must believe that depression isn't real. And when I say that, a lot of the weaker guys that are watching, and I totally empathize with you, this hurts to hear. You might have been depressed for 4, 5, 6, 10 years. And by hearing this, you're like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Belief is the most important thing you can have as a human. Belief is when your mind is fixated on something. The most pressing thoughts are the ones at the top. You will subconsciously take actions that lead toward that belief because the mind, the brain wants to prove itself right. I will bring this up in the majority of the self-improvement videos. but journaling. When you connect your mind to your hand to the pencil, and you're actually writing down sentences, because like, let's be honest, bro, like how many times have you wrote things out in the past year? You have to do this on pen and paper, into the journal that I always preach. Write down, depression isn't real. It's just a state of emotion that I am in that is caused by actions that have led to a bad self-image of myself. And from then, set a timer for 1 hour, 30 minutes, whatever it is. Throw your phone away, sit there, full focus on this piece of paper in your journal, and just write out your thoughts about that. And eventually, when you write and you keep looking at that main statement and keep writing it, you'll start generating into your mind, and you will start believing. Not only is depression not just something that just happens to you, but you will get over it. Number 2, find your purpose. And at first, I would always hear the self-improvement guys and every guy be like, find your purpose. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? I came to realize through doing it myself that purpose is the thing in your life that you are so fixated on all the time that you really, really want to do, but it's also beneficial to greater society. The reason that you have to find your purpose is because once you figure out what your purpose is and realize how important it is to you, you will start naturally, subconsciously dedicating more actions in your life toward that purpose. For example, if that purpose is to build the most aesthetic body, which was my purpose a long time ago for many, many years. Let's say it's that, right? I did this in the last video, but here's the steps to do it. So the first step in finding your purpose is take a blank sheet, put a timer on, throw the phone away, write down what is my purpose, and just let your mind generate ideas. You can't just wait for the shower thoughts to come. Set that timer and start writing for all that time without checking your phone once. And I guarantee you do this for a couple sessions, you will come out with your greater purpose, even if it is a shorter term purpose. You're connecting to your brain, to the paper, back to your eyes. It's gonna keep reminding your mind and subconsciously trick your brain into thinking about this purpose more and more. And when you think about something more and more, you start to do actions that lead to it. So if it's building an aesthetic body and that's always on your mind, when you see the junk food and the healthy food, you will naturally have that second thought like, wait, no, I want to build an aesthetic body. Well, why would I eat this junk food right now? And you'll naturally take more and more and more steps gradually toward your purpose. And this helps with depression because when you have a clear purpose in your life, you are dedicating your life to actions that you yourself truly find pride and care in. And number 3, journal. There's all these forms of journaling, but the one form of journaling that I believe helps with depression the most is gratitude journaling. If you thought that was super gay and you're never gonna try, just leave. Literally click off this video right now, go to the comment section, leave a bad comment, because I truly believe that this will save someone's life out there. How to gratitude journal. You have a blank piece of paper, you have the date at the top, and you write down number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you sit down, no phone, no music, and you write out, I am grateful for this. I am grateful for that. Let me read you my first ever entry into this gratitude journal. This was when I was going through my terrible breakup. I said, I'm grateful through this girl that I was able to learn about adversity in my life. Number 2, I'm grateful for my brothers Jeff and Humphrey because without judgment, they are always there for me. Number 3, I'm grateful for the people who follow my channel, talking about the other channel, that they have not left me after I disrespected their time and value. That was after I stopped posting for a while because I was just so sad and depressed. That was my first ever entry. I wrote down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for, even if it's I'm just grateful for my bed in the morning, because some children out there don't have a bed. And if you're able to set aside that 3 minutes every single morning and promise yourself you will do this, I guarantee it will help you get over your depression the fastest that anything else on this list will. The literal definition of depression is having negative thoughts about the past. The brain is like your supercomputer. It's like Google. When you type into Google, like you type a letter into Google, it will generate like the top 5 things that you've like most recently searched. Like if I type in Y, it'll be like YouTube, porn. It's the same with the brain. No matter how many things your brain can remember, your brain is always fixated on the top things that you're always thinking about. So, by putting in 5 things that you're grateful for every single morning, this trains your brain to visually see gratefulness in your life. Gratitude journaling with all the real dopamine it puts into your brain is probably the best thing you can do to get over depression. Number 4, meditation. Now there's 2 forms of meditation. 1, I like to call it cloud meditation. I'll probably think of a fucking better name next time. 2, I call it presence meditation. These 2 forms of meditation I think are the best for fixing depression. Cloud meditation is where you shut everything off. You go into a quiet space. You set a timer for just 1 minute. I will bet that almost every single one of you guys can't stay present for 1 minute. I mean, that's okay, because it takes time to train that, bro. It will take weeks, months, years to get to the point where you can sit in presence for like 20 minutes straight. It's tough. 1 minute, set your timer, and every single thought that passes in your mind, negative and positive, you think of them as passing like they are clouds. Instead of saying like, oh, this girl left me, I fucking hate my life. Why am I thinking about this? Let the thought pass. Oh, this girl left me. Okay. And say okay to every single thought. Like verbally in your mind, say okay. And tell your brain that it is just a thought. The second form of meditation, presence meditation. This is the form of meditation that has helped me the most. And I think self-improvement YouTuber Hamza put it into my brain of this is the best way to tell someone how to do it. When you're in the present and not in the past, you will not be depressed. So how this meditation works is set your timer again, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Step 1. For me, I always like to do the breath because I think you can do 2 things at once, breath work and meditation. Think about only the air coming into your nose and leaving your nose, nothing else. Step 2 is something you can't control, but is when your mind starts thinking about something else. Is when you start wandering, or even the subtle thought of when I started doing this, I would breathe in, breathe out, think about the breath, and then I would either hear someone in the background or I would think, oh my God, this is so stupid. Anytime you think about anything else than that one specific thing that you're fixating on, that's step 2, and that's pulling your presence away. Step 3 is bringing your presence back to that task, whatever it is. And by doing this in the controlled environment of setting a timer and being like in a closed-eyed meditative state, this will be like reps for your brain. This will be like deadlifts, squats, bicep curls, chest press for your brain to teach like the mind muscle memory of being able to bring yourself back to present. How fucking sick is that you can literally do workout for your brain, that your stupid little monkey brain can be tricked like that into becoming more present. And the benefit that I've gotten for this has been tremendous. I've noticed in almost every situation in my life, I'm able to not think about the stresses of work and enjoy the presence with specific people. When I'm in work, I'm able to enjoy the presence of getting that task done and not thinking about the result at the end. When I'm with my girl, I'm able to think about the lovely dinner we're having. It's an amazing practice, bro. And number 5, the last step, discipline. It sounds very abstract, but the way that discipline works and the way that I think discipline is actually the most important way to get over depression is because you are depressed due to your lack of self-image. Close your eyes right now and picture what you look like to yourself in your mind. And for the guys that are probably watching this video, you probably see yourself as a lazy, smelly, disgusting, purposeless, sad man. And how do you build self-image? Through actions. I don't believe in that bullshit that, oh, I can just think I'm great and it's just gonna happen. Come on, those people are lying to themselves. Let's be honest. What fucking like woke fucking libtard guys like thinking that shit? Come on. When you have a very high level of discipline, your morning routine, your work schedule, your night routine, and when you create this do or die scenario in your mind that I do for all of my self-improvement, that you have to stay on this discipline and you do stay on your discipline, you will create such a loving, healthy self-image in your mind as not a weak, lazy man, but as someone who has purpose, pride, passion, and someone who sticks to their promises. Because every single time you promise yourself you're gonna do something, like for example, I promised myself I was gonna record these videos this morning and I didn't do it till this afternoon. I told myself that making this video was the most important thing of the day and I didn't even prioritize doing it in the beginning. I knew I was going to lose self-respect for myself if I put this video off for tomorrow and lie to myself and lie to my editor, Nicola. Shout out, Nicola. Oh, bro, I can't do it. I'm packing for my trip. Like, come on, like, that's bullshit. Promise yourself something and you have the discipline to do it, you will gain such a high level of self-respect. My biggest tip for this is create a Google Calendar. Every one of my closest friends and everyone who is working with me directly on my team, like my editor, my producer, my best friends, even my girlfriend, they all have a Google Calendar where you can see exactly what you're doing in every second of the day. Now, you don't have to be as anal as I am about it, like with the fucking drive blocks and all this, but you could simply put 2 hours for my morning routine, and in that, you know, you will meditate, you will gratitude journal, you will take a cold shower for your dopamine, you will do all these things, and then you have your specific work blocks where you do the deep work, and you can even schedule in time off. Like you have 3 hours every day, 5 hours. I don't care if you're a little bit of a lazier guy and you don't have that much drive, but you're still just trying to get into it and get over that depression. It's okay to take that 6 hour, fucking 8 hour block that's just free time. That's better than doing absolutely nothing every day. But scheduling it in, make it as relaxed as you possibly can. That's my tip. If you think the morning routine might take you 30 minutes at fastest, put it for 1 hour. Make it as relaxed as you can so you literally have no fucking excuse to stick to it. And then stick to it perfectly every single day, because that will garner the most self-respect in yourself. I'm gonna give you a little bonus one here. Number 6, boys. Make sure to get into some productive physical pain every single day. For me, that was working out, which was something that's supposed to be tough in my life, that has become so comfortable because I was doing fucking powerlifting with the 1 rep and the wide arm bench press. But now I've made sure to prioritize some sort of physical pain in the morning. So a cold shower every morning, because the reason for the depression is a low level of dopamine. And your dopamine, you can think about it as like a tank. I learned this from the Andrew Huberman podcast, one of the best podcasts that I would recommend. You can consider dopamine on a scale of 1 to 100, where your base level is around 50. The reason that your dopamine goes up and your dopamine comes down is because if you do an action that elicits a lot of artificial dopamine, a lot of pleasure, your dopamine level will spike past 100 to maybe like 120. Fapping while you're fucking vaping at the same time. I have done that in my past. That's probably why I was depressed. Your dopamine's gonna shoot to like 200%. And it will feel great. But when it comes down, usually artificial dopamine, the dopamine comes down quick. That's why guys have like the post-nut clarity. It will come down below that baseline of 50 and stay there for hours. But on the other hand, if you're doing hard things like making your workouts tougher, doing more reps, make sure that you have at least 1 set in your workout that you are taking not only to failure, but past failure. Is that muscularly beneficial? Absolutely not. You should probably be training at like 2 reps to failure, but it is so mentally beneficial. You should definitely pick one of your exercises to do that with, preferably an isolation exercise so you don't fuck your shit up, bro. That will bring your dopamine immediately to a very low, because it's tough. You're freezing in that water. Your bicep is literally like tearing apart, and you're pushing past this last rep that your mind didn't even know you could do. When you finish those things, your dopamine shoots up past that 50% threshold, and it stays there for a long sustained period. So start your day off with something tough like that. Start your day off with some sort of physical pain that's beneficial. The thing that self-improvement and depression have in common is there is a timeline of your life, and you are going down that timeline. But every decision you make, to fap, to not fap, to go take that cold shower, to not take that cold shower, to journal, to not journal in the morning, every decision you make will lead you down toward one of the paths, either becoming that weak demo version of yourself that you hate, you have this self-image of that is absolutely disgusting, or to become the superior demo version of yourself, that version of yourself that you look to that could be achievable in 5 to 10 years, that version of yourself that you have so much hope to get to and pride. But also, now that you are starting your self-improvement journey and you are picking the paths on the timeline to stay on the correct course toward that future that you actually want to create, you believe it, and it will happen. Start self-improvement now and never stop. I love you, boys. Peace out, you beautiful, sexy motherfuckers.